What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Hollywood Rick, aka Hollywood Your Boy, and welcome to another interview for the Dedicated Black Dad channel. So the Dedicated Black Dad channel is highlighting black men that I feel have been showing exemplary qualities in how they raise their kids. It's definitely setting up to break all the stereotypes that have been given towards black men about not being nurturing and not being in the lives of their children. This Dedicated Black Dad channel is going to highlight black fathers that I know personally and people that are recommended to me that have been established as being great black dads. One of the people that I look up to and I respect a lot is my friend here, Oneil Salmon. I've known him for over 15 years and he's definitely a dedicated black dad. So Oneil, thanks for being here, bro. Thanks for having me in your house, having me in your family, being my friend for such a long time. Thanks for inspiring me. And tell me what it means to be a dedicated black dad.
First and foremost, thank you also, bro, because I look up to you also, my G. You know what I mean? And this is what we do as the group that we have formed over the years. This is what we do. You feel me? We've built our family through the ups and downs. You know what I mean? And we look up to each other and we build accordingly as black men.
So we definitely have grown up together, right?
Definitely.
We have grown up together.
21,
came
in the blue at 21.
Yeah, we definitely have grown up together.
Grew together.
And I mean, started families together, had kids around the same time. You know what I'm saying? So we've definitely grown up together, and that's why I'm feeling like it's necessary for me to highlight that that I'm surrounded by people that have the same moral structure and the same qualities as I have, because people sometimes celebrate me as being a great dad, but you're a great dad yourself. So tell me what it is and why you're so dedicated into being a good dad.
Well, to me, it's the future, because when I look at my kids, I see the future. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to leave a legacy behind. Understand? I have to leave a legacy with structure. That's how I see it. So by the way I raise these kids and the morals that I put in them, that's a long-lasting effect that I want to leave behind.
So you say legacy. The reason why I'm gonna say legacy, and I'm harping on the word legacy. So, did you always think legacy? Because I mean, you know me, right? You know me for a long time. We came in knowing each other at a young age. I think a lot of times people don't have the idea of legacy. Did you always think legacy in the sense of you wanted to leave something behind?
No, well, like at a young age, when I met you, I never really thought of legacy, but I knew I wanted a family.
Yeah.
That was one of the main things I knew I wanted, because I grew up in an environment where mom and dad wasn't together.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had friends that had mom and dads, and I saw how mom and dad move. So I actually wanted that for myself. So in turn, I actually said, okay, that's my blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want a family.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? And by having a family, I knew the responsibility that I had in my hand by having kids, having a wife, everything like that when it came to the family. So at the end of the day, it's like being a father now, you have to actually implement those things and those ideas that I had in my head within them.
Okay. So because it's funny because you say you didn't grow up necessarily with mom and dad being together, and sometimes people use that as an excuse, right? To say, okay, listen, I didn't have a father around, so that's why I'm not a great father. But it's almost like you kind of flipped it around to say, okay, listen, I didn't have that, so I want my kids to have that, right? So it's more of, that's kind of a selfless thing, you know what I'm saying? You're giving them something that you didn't have, and I think that's the thing that I look up on too, for me to give my kids something better than what I had from before, right? Mm-hmm. One thing that I recognize a lot is that you're very, very, very hands-on. What makes you so hands-on with your kids? Because I know a lot of times the stereotype is that the black dad is not affectionate, is not nurturing, is more of he'll just throw money at the issue. What makes you so hands-on with your kids, doing homework, cooking, and all that stuff? What makes you so hands-on with them?
Well, I'm very hands-on because kids learn from examples.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I've known all my life is that kids learn from their environment, and their environment, that's what they absorb. So if you don't show them that example and be hands-on and show them step by step, it's like there's nothing being registered within the mind. Because at the end of the day, like with me, if you're naturally hands-on, no matter what happened in their life, they'll always come back to what you did with them, or whatever you actually, like, you know, physically did with them. They always come back to that.
Yeah, I think that's important too, because I think I was showing you earlier how I was having a conversation with Lerone, and he was talking about being a point of reference. And I think that's the number one thing about being a father, is you're being an example, right? So the example could be good or bad, but you know, depending on your dedication towards your kids, you want to be a positive example, something that they could come back to and be like, yo, this is the standard, this is the structure that my dad set up for me, so that, you know, I have something as a point of reference and as an example to say, okay, listen, when this thing needs to be done, this is how I'm going to do it, because this is how I saw my dad do it. You know what I'm saying? So what's the hardest thing about being a dad? Because, you know, we're talking, you know, we're all talking great dads, and, you know, we're all great, dedicated like that. What is the hardest thing about being a dad?
The hardest thing to me for being a dad is hoping that what you taught them and what you are teaching them really stick with them. That's the hardest part about being a dad. It's like you just praying and hoping that when they're on their own, whatever you instill in them, whatever you teach them, it's with them all the time. So when they go in situations, they know how to maneuver themselves out of it. Because me personally, I grew up in the hood. Like me and you, we grew up in the hood. So at the end, there's a lot of influences within that structure of the hood. And there's a lot of layers to it. And there's a lot of good kids in the hood. But the thing about it is that a lot of them don't know how to maneuver it. Maneuver the bad, maneuver the good, and separate the good from the bad, and then, you know, find themselves. It's very hard.
No, it's funny because from doing these interviews, right? Because I'm like on my, I've done a couple of them now, and it's like it's funny that even though I'm interviewing you guys, I'm learning a bit as I go along too, right? And you're saying the fear, or the hardest part, is hoping that you're instilling things in them that later on they will take in life, and, you know, multiply into great things, right? And I think that's one of my fears too, is that, you know, a lot of times, even as much praise as you might get for being a good dad, you're hoping that whatever you're doing is the right thing and it's sticking, right? And you're hoping, like, damn, I hope when I'm not around. I had a conversation with my son today about, yo, do you think I'm going to be around forever? I'm not going to be around forever to help you hold your hand all the time. I need you to absorb the good things that I'm doing, I'm teaching you now, or the good things that I'm doing now, so that later on I don't have that fear of you not being able to survive in the world on your own. I mean, because it's spooky out there, and that's why it's important for us to do this, so that, you know, people could know that we're having the conversation on a daily basis about what's going on. Because we do talk about, and I mean, our families and and our kids and what we expect of them. What do you expect from your kids?
Honestly, what I expect from them is to be themselves. I want them to be successful. At the same time, we all want our kids to be successful in their. We always want them to be successful by our standards. But at the end of the day, I want them to be successful in their own eyes. You understand what I'm saying? What do you want for yourself? You understand what I'm saying? That's why I've always asked my kids, like my oldest, Liam, what do you want for yourself? It's not what I want for you. What do you want for you? You understand what I'm saying? One thing, if you're happy with you, you're good. You understand what I'm saying? In that aspect of it.
Yeah, I get that. I think that's important for you to, because in this, especially in this age of, like, where you have so much insecurities with kids, and, you know, people are looking for a validation from other people or from social media or something like that. It's good. I think that's a good answer to say that, you know, once you're confident in who you are, then I think I've done my job to make you into a man or a woman that's a confident individual. You don't have to be a millionaire or a billionaire or a super, some major career. But as long as you're confident in yourself as an individual, then I've instilled the right things in you, and you can I can look at you as an upstanding citizen in the world. I get it. I understand. Tell me a fatherhood technique that probably only you do. Something that you do only for your kids, or something that you feel like that you've mastered throughout this process of becoming a father. Because I think the journey of fatherhood is exactly that, a journey, right? So you're learning as you go along, and people think, okay, since you're doing so well with your kids now, that you always knew how to do that. Tell me something that you've mastered over the period of time that you've become a father. Because or were you just born a great dad right off the rip?
Nah, we never born great. We have to. It's a process. But being the dad that I am today, and what I've learned is that our kids are individuals.
Yeah.
And they are their own person. In the sense that Liam is Liam, Austin is Austin. You understand what I'm saying? Every kid that you have is his own person. So you have to personally get to know each kid one by one. Know their needs, wants, and ins and outs, and what triggers them, what don't trigger your kid. Because the thing is that we tend to use the same blueprint for every kid. That's how we tend to do.
Yeah, that's how we were raised.
We was raised that way, to use the same blueprint for every single child. Like, I'm disciplining you like this and that, when every kid are different because they are their own person. So that's my approach to it. My oldest, I approach him, I could talk to him regularly. You understand what I'm saying? My youngest, I have to cuddle him a little bit and then get what I want out of him. My daughter, she's very feisty. So, I talk to her, but for the most part, I let her mom deal with her. You understand what I'm saying? But each kid have their own personality. That's how I approach it. I that's not like no secret. It's just that we have adapted the way of our parents, as in, okay, let's raise every kid the same, and expectations are the same, which you cannot expect the same thing from each kid. You're not going to get the same results.
I agree. You gotta. I think back in the day, everybody was judged by the same yardstick, and that wasn't fair. I think the same thing too. You have to approach each kid as an individual. And before, when you were younger, you didn't have an opinion. Now these kids have opinions, and you have to listen to it, right? And I think one of the biggest things about being a father is being patient, right? And I think that's one of the things I developed over a period of time. I mean, I'm still not 100% at it, but you develop more patience over the period of time. You say things more than you used to, when before you used to flare up. You know what I mean? You're more patient. So I get it. I get it that you have to understand, who your kid is, and find out his individual wants and needs. So I think that's a great tactic right there. For what is one of the, so there's a lot of negative stereotypes that are directed towards black dads, right? What is one of the negative stereotypes that you would want to dispel about black men and black dads? You know what I mean? Because I used to have a lot of friends that used to say, "Oh, your dad's never around," and that was a thing for the black dad not to be around, or that black men aren't nurturing, or black men aren't affectionate, and they're rough, or what was one of the things that you would want to knock out the box and say, yo, that's not true, dispel that about black dads and black fathers?
Like the number one thing that I want to dispel about that is, with the simple fact, is that society overall, or society overall, think that black men don't have emotions, or black men don't feel. They think that we're very rugged and rough, but we're none of that. You feel me? So at the end of the day, in order for most of us to even build a family, we have to have affection. So at the end of the day, it's like the family that you see in front of you, like the Venuses and the Venus Serenas, and all these great people that have had the backing of their family, or their mom and dad, that you have seen in society. that show that there's some compassion when it comes to black men.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the one narrative that I want to actually, like you said, that I want to change is just don't feed into the narrative that black men are not there.
Yeah.
We're there.
Yeah. And that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm doing this, because I know we're there. And whoever is saying that we're not there, this is proof to show that I know at least 10 to 15 people that are in my circle that I deal with on a daily basis, and probably more than that. Yeah,
way more.
Yeah, that are great dads, right? And if I have that in my circle and they have in their circle, then that's a multitude of black men that are really good dads.
Exactly, and like I said, it's like let's focus on the good black men.
Yeah,
let's push the good black men forward, and not just focus on the bad ones. Yes, every group have its bad. There's bad apple in every group, but there are a significant amount of black men that are upstanding.
Yeah,
they step up to the plate.
Yep,
they're there for their kids.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying? It's just you have to look. Like society have to look.
And you don't have to look a lot. You don't have to look far.
You don't have to look far.
You just have to want to see the positive, right? Because a lot of times people don't want to see the positive. They just want to see the negative, right? So I agree with you. I agree with you that there's so many of us. And this is exactly why I'm doing this, because I want the world to know that, okay, not because the news is painting us as being absentee, or they want to depict us as being thugs or being emotionless or whatever. That's not the case. We're very much active in the lives of our kids, and we're very much concerned about what the future of our kids are, and we're playing a positive role in making sure that our kids get to a good ending, and I mean a good point in their lives. And they're not gonna just get there by themselves. They're getting there because we are making a concerted effort.
Exactly.
To do that. So, yeah, man, I really appreciate you sitting down with me.
Definitely.
And having this conversation. And I definitely want to do something to show my appreciation for you being a great dad. So, I got you something. And I hope you can hold on to this. Just know that on behalf of the dedicated Black Dads Foundation, I got you a plaque so you can put it on your mantle.
That's what I'm talking about, baby.
Right?
Finally, some recognition, baby. We do what we do.
If nobody wants to recognize you, I'll recognize you, okay? So
I recognize you too, my kid. Brother, love you, man. Always. You know what we do.